Have you ever tried to look through the Ontario Building Code and have felt confused? Hi, Jerry here from AskKit Architectural Studio. Are you looking to understand how to navigate the Ontario Building Code for your next home design? At a very high level, the Ontario Building Code provides the technical requirements with regard to renovations, new buildings, and to changes of use within a building. Essentially, the building code sets out the minimum standards for the renovations or new construction of these buildings. You may have thought that the Ontario Building Code only applies to new residences or new buildings. However, if you've purchased an older home and are planning a substantial renovations, you will find that the Ontario Building Code is applicable to those renovations and additions or expansions. Your designer, contractor, or architect may very well have a good knowledge of the building code. However, if you plan on developing your own permit documents for the renovation, it would be a good thing to have a good knowledge and understanding of the building code and how to apply its requirements. Okay, so it's a 2-binder volume set, 5-inch thick binders, excess of 800 pages, definitely confusing. It doesn't help that the building code constantly bounces you around from part to part, let alone sub-parts throughout the building code. If you haven't got your fingers and your pencil stuck into at least 5 different locations trying to determine the solution to one question, then you're obviously not understanding the building code and all of its requirements. So here's a very quick and dirty crash course on how to understand the Ontario Building Code. I think first we need to understand how the Ontario Building Code came to be. It is based on the National Building Code of Canada. One thing to understand, to navigate quickly, is to understand that Canada is a bilingual country with national languages in English and French. And we also have adopted metric, which is found in both the Ontario and National Building Codes, but need to understand that our industry uses the more adopted imperial measurements of past. To this end, understanding French is critical. Here is the aha moment. So, you want to find something fast in the Ontario Building Code? You need to use French-English inversion. So, if you were trying to find out information regarding steel beams and the requirements for shot priming, you would go to the index and you would look up the word beam. Then you would look up steel. And this would give you a reference to 923.8.2, where it recites that steel beams are required to have shot primer applications. Using the French inversion, beams then steel, will give you the answer on steel beams. The next part 9 and part 11 would be the 2 major parts to which you would focus your new dwelling or renovation of your existing dwelling. Part 9 being small buildings and part 11 being renovations and additions to buildings and structures 5 years and older. The next quick tip to understanding the Ontario Building Code is to understand that the building code is broken down into a number of parts. Each part of the building code is appointed to a different aspect of construction. In particular, with regard to new dwellings and renovations of dwellings, your focus will be mainly on parts 9 and parts 11, new buildings and renovations of existing buildings. After that, your next focus would be to look at the part index, which is located at the front of each part in the building code, and outlines a breakdown of the main topics within the part. Underneath that, you will find subclauses and sentences with respect to specific items. I would encourage everyone to look at the index at the beginning of each part of the building code. To be clear, part 9 deals with residential and small buildings and even deals with old homes, which is read in conjunction with part 11, renovations, which offers opportunities on dwellings that are more than 5 years old to have some relief from the requirements of that needed for a new dwelling. For those looking to renovate a dwelling into a legal suite, you will find that Part 9 offers some relief to the requirements The last remaining part of importance in the building code is section 1.4, definitions of words and terms. This is critical, as this gives the clarity of definition with regard to any of the documented words in the building code that are in the italics. In other words, if you're looking for specific definition with regard to, let's say, the term fire separation, you will find that fire separation is typically an italicized word in the building code and has a very, very, very clear legal definition as outlined in the terms and definitions of the building code. These are the main topics to help you successfully navigate the Ontario Building Code. I have provided to you in the description down below after this video a link to the Ontario Building Code publication that is downloadable in PDF. You can also check out my AskKit Architectural Studio website, where under my resources and library you can find links to these various documents to help you navigate your own do-it-yourself permit design drawings.